what we're going to do next is we are going to really spice up our game. So I loaded my game. At first it doesn't look like anything's there, but of course if I open the folders, you'll see I've got the sprite for Android, the wall. I added a background to the game, and I added the objects, Android and wall. What I want to do next is add some sound effects. So I'm going to create a sound, and I already have a folder in my drive H of sound effects. So I made a folder called Infotech 10, and inside the folder Infotech 10 I made another folder called sound effects. And so I've got the ricochet, and so I'm going to call it SND ricochet. If I want to hear it, I can hit play, and that's the sound that I've got there for ricochet. I've also got a sound for the background music, and this sound was different. I used a MIDI file called a MIDI file, and I downloaded one directly from the internet. I'm going to load that sound, and because it's an MIDI file, it's very, very small, and it's like the notes only, and it will play through the sound card, and it works really well with this. And I can hit play, and that's the music. The other one is I wanted a sound for points, and I made another sound effect for that as well, right there. Okay, so I've got these. I can change and adjust the volume if I wanted, all that sort of thing, and that's just fine. So how do I add it to the game? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to Android some of those sounds. So in the create event, not only did I start moving, but I wanted to play some sound effects. So I go to main one, and I say start moving, and also the next one is add the sound effect of the background music. So the background music is going to start playing when Android's created. When I hit a wall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play another sound, and this sound is going to be called ricochet, and I don't want it to loop. I don't want to play over and over again. I just want it to play once. So it's going to just play once. And finally, left button, when I start moving, I get the points. I'm also going to add some sound, and that sound is going to be sound points. So the first thing I do is I add the sounds, and then I put them in the appropriate actions of the various events. Great, now we've added sound effects, our game's much better. One of the last things I wanted to do was to put a high scoreboard, and also put a time limit, because it's great if you can do it, but I want to see how many you can do in just a few seconds of the game. I want the game to only last a few seconds. That'll make it a little bit more fun as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use a timer. I'm going to go to the create event of Android. So when Android is created and the game starts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer. And a timer is in main number 2. So main number 2, I'm going to set a timer, which is called an alarm. And so this alarm is going to trigger in a number of steps. Right now my game runs, I believe, at 30 frames a second. And so that would mean in 30 steps, that would be the equivalent of 1 second. So suppose I want my game to go for about, I'll make it short here of 10 seconds, but I would actually want the game to go longer than that. What I would do is I'd say the number of steps is 300 and set alarm number 1, let's say. You can choose whatever. So in 300 steps, which will be about 10 seconds, alarm 1 is going to ring. Well, what's that all about? Well, here's what it's all about. So now I have an event, and I can go to alarm event, and if I select alarm 1, that is an event. So when is this going to happen? It's going to happen when it rings. And when is it going to ring? Well, in the create event, I said it's going to ring after it's been created. The Android's been created. The alarm is going to ring in about 10 seconds after the Android's created. Alarm 1 is going to ring. And when it rings, it's going to do this action once. And what is it going to do? The action it's going to do, I'm going to go to score, and I'm going to tell it to show the high scoreboard. And then after it shows the high scoreboard and lets you enter the high score, I'm going to go to control. Oh, sorry. I'm going to go to main 2 rather. And I'm going to go to the game and I'm going to tell it to restart the game. So the high score table is going to ring and the game's going to restart. And I think that's it. That's all I really need to do. And when the game restarts, of course, Android would be created again. And when Android's created, the timer is going to be created. And the timer is going to ring in 300 steps. When it rings, it's going to do those events, which is going to be high scored and restart the game. So let me just hit save and hit play, and you'll see my new game in just a second. You'll see new sound effects. I've got background music and ricochet sound and points sounds for when it hits the walls and when I get points. And a little bit more fun now, isn't it?